Okay, so if you've been around here on my channel for a while now, you will have heard me say that Disney's Robin Hood is one of my very favorite animated movies of all time. In fact, it's actually the very first animated thing that I can ever remember seeing, so it's got kind of a special place in my heart because of that. So imagine my surprise when one of my favorite animated movies in years also has a walking, talking, and very sly fox as a main character. From Zootopia to Robin Hood, naturally some questions have arisen. Are Robin Hood and Nick Wilde related? Are they descendants of some sort? And on a larger scale, are the worlds of Robin Hood and Zootopia connected in some way? It's an interesting idea, but probably calls for some more digging into. Is it just a fun internet theory, or is there something to it? Well, let's start with what we know, the basics if you will. Principally, they're both Disney. Connection confirmed. Of course, that's going to seem like a mundane connection, but Disney does have an affinity for shared universes between the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the character references popping up in their films. Belle shows up in Hunchback, Flynn and Rapunzel pop up in Frozen, and a dead Scar's skin finds its way into Hercules. So it shouldn't be too far of a reach to relate these two universes, but where's the line drawn between Easter eggs and full canonical connection? Well, let's see, what else do we know? Let's talk about anthropomorphism, which, if you don't know, is the attribution of human characteristics to animals. And here's the kicker, Zootopia is one of just 4 Disney movies ever to contain a fully anthropomorphic cast of animals with no humans present. So they don't live in a world where humans also live. For all intents and purposes, they are the humans of their world. For instance, no humans appear in the movie A Bug's Life, but they live in a giant tree, indicating it's a human-sized world. None of these kinds of scale differences exist in Robin Hood or Zootopia. And Robin Hood, by the way, came out in the 70s, so it's been a long span of years for these two movies to feel so similar. We also must touch on the similarities of Robin Hood and Nick Wilde themselves as characters. Both clearly are partial to the art of the scam. Of course, Robin Hood's agenda is much more noble, and it takes the course of the film Zootopia for Nick Wilde to kind of find himself. And where does he end up? As a police officer, standing up for the little guys, not unlike what Robin Hood does in his time. Obviously, the lawmen in Robin Hood's universe aren't the best of folk. So with all of that taken into consideration, it's hard to really say that they aren't in the same universe, that years and years after Robin Hood came the much more modern and advanced civilization of Zootopia. Except there are a few things. For instance, the very first scene of Zootopia, in which the kids go over the history of their world. They state that thousands of years ago, animals were primal, predators hunted prey, and all animals were, well, animalistic. Now, if we consider that every traditional telling of Robin Hood takes place around the 13 or 1400s, give or take, well, that sounds like thousands of years to me. So during that time period in the Zootopia world, well, the animals might have still been, as they call it, savage. Of course, you could say the animals in Robin Hood overcame their savagery well before the events of the film. Take humans. We didn't really get our handle on civilized society until many centuries before the era of Robin Hood. And if you said that, you'd have a point. But humans did have our handle on pants. Around the 1400s, humans were wearing pants and full clothing in general. Whereas in Robin Hood, clothing seems, well, optional. Some wear clothes and pants, and some don't. This guy's just wearing a cape. Good for you, buddy. You go. And this further makes you realize that this is much dissimilar to Zootopia, where the characters have a bit more bodily awareness, if you will. Not only are the animals fully dressed in Zootopia, but the movie goes out of its way to take the characters to a nudist resort where Judy Hopps is made very uncomfortable by the presence of nude animals. Not such an issue in Robin Hood. So where am I landing on all of this? Well, I hate to burst the bubble of fun, but I'd have to lean more towards it really not looking likely that the universes are connected. Of course, homage is a totally different thing, and if 2 of my favorite animated movies can be connected in that way, I'm all for it. And if some shades of Robin Hood can be felt in Nick Wilde, well, I'm all for that too. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. This is just my opinion, after all. I'll see you guys next time, and thank you so much for watching. Oh, and if you want to check out some of my other videos, I've linked a few of my favorites for your clicking pleasure. See ya!